Hi, everybody. Sally Diane here, aka your Queen of Ooga Booga, and I'm here today to talk about Putin and the situation in the Ukraine. For those of you who have watched me in the past, you know that sometimes I'll ask for a vision. For example, I asked when Trump was elected president, so some of my visions are a little long sighted. I asked how it was going to end. I didn't want to know what was going on in between, although I did plenty of readings to see what went from point A to point B there. But I just want to take a look at that last chapter. Just show me how it's going to end. And the vision I got was the White House. It was darkened, but you could see flashing lights on the front like emergency vehicles. But the message there was it was so quiet at the White House, you'd hear the little motors on the emergency, the little motors on the light. There was a stunned silence. And so the two things I walked away with for sure was a stunned silence, which told me that was something so bizarre that nobody could have guessed it. And then that Pence was going to be president for a period of 2. And what happened? Well, the insurrection, boy, nobody ever saw that coming. And I'm sure there was a lot of stunned silence at the White House. And for the last 2 weeks, Pence was the de facto president. And I thought that was pretty good. So I asked my guides for a vision again about Ukraine. And I know that I'll do readings in the in-between, and there's a lot of things from point A to point B, but I want to know, how does this war in Ukraine end? And so this is the vision. And do I have an overhead camera here? Okay. So this is the vision that I got. And I'm not sure that this crescent may be a little bit more than this, but I have a feeling that it followed that river. And those of you that are looking at notice that it's flipped. And the word reversal comes through here, that there's a reversal. And when I look at this, I get the feeling that it's a pit. So I'd like to think it's a no-fly zone, but I think it's something more sinister than that. I think that I worry that Putin might go scorched earth, but I want to see what the cards have to say. But I want to share with you first where I'm starting out with this. So I wanted to look at the different players. First off, I wanted to look at Putin as a person. And I wanted to do, let's just do a reading on him and see what's going on with him and see this from his perspective. And hopefully we can, by the end of this video, put together what that vision meant. So we look at Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin. Oh. We get his baseline, and a lot of you know he's former KGB and what have you. So he's using his skill set. He's doing what he knows to do. But then you get crossed with a fool reversed. And when you have that fool reverse, it is somebody who takes big, foolish chances. And so the cards are basically, I'm getting the feeling that what they're saying here is that it's a big, foolish thing that he's doing. It's also pointing out that he's been planning this for 3 years. So moving ahead. To the left. So it looks like, first off, the whole plan. Like I said, he's been planning it for 3 years, and it's a foolish plan. It really is. It's from beginning to end. I think that it was based on false assumptions, and he was undersupplied. His army is hungry, and that's a big no no. He's got a hungry army. So when I look at this, first off, it shows that he was confused right from the beginning as far as how it was going to go. He really has he has a really um convoluted, twisted world view. It's kind of like he sees the world through the eyes of his sycophants, which makes him think that things like Ukraine is going to greet his army with flowers, sort of thing. So this is where his mind was at, and this is what he's telling his people. This really confused, delusional, childish crap. And in his within his own mind and heart, it has to do with a wish, but kind of a wish for destruction, which confuses me because he comes presenting like, I'm going for Mother Russia and to rebuild what we were for history, and it's kind of like this is something he's doing strictly to be destructive, which scares me a lot. And when we look at the near past, he's basically followed the playbook. And this is the Pope is about following the rules and doing the norms. And so he has followed the same playbook that Russia has done before. And if I remember correctly, it didn't succeed for them before in Afghanistan. But when we look at the near future, they say it's a standoff, and you'd think, well, it's a standoff. Your guys are dying. Your resources are being dwindled away slowly but surely. But he is this guy right here. He thinks he's happy with the standoff. He thinks as long as he's there and as long as he has a single soldier, that he stands a chance to win. I do not see him giving up. And the thing that really worries me is that wish for destruction. So we move on. Okay, so do I need to move it up or down? Left. Okay, so that much. Okay, so when we look at this, there is this escalation because the world looks at it like he's a failed leader. That's how the world views him, and that's even his friends. Other than his sycophants, they see this as a failure already. And it is really, his guys are dry, are his soldiers are acting weird and stuff like that. It's no good. This battle is no good. It's a total standoff. And yet here he is. Oh, I'm winning. Oh, I'm winning. So the world sees him as the narcissistic failed leader that he is. There's this idea that I think that within Russia, when I look at this, it feels like he's well connected, and he's got his hand on every coin in the treasury, kind of thing. So the oligarchs in that are deep roots. But when this shows upside down, it looks like this is enough to pull his deep roots out. The thing that worries me is that it's not just his money, it's the Russian people's money. This is going to leave Russia in poverty again. and the hopes and fears. It's weird because this poverty thing, this you know, it's that wish for destruction again, and that really concerns me. That what he's doing, he is just doing strictly destruction. He doesn't even it's not like he's not fighting to win. I don't know how else to put it. He's fighting to destroy. And then the final card is judgment. And good Lord, I hope that's the world's judgment. It is shown with an angel. I don't have a bad feeling about it. Well, not too bad anyway, but I just want some confirmation cards. So I'm going to throw 3 more cards and ask them to explain a little bit more about this judgment thing. Okay. So this thing with the judgment, it shows the Knight of Pentacles, and the Knight of Pentacles is a stubborn guy, but it's kind of like he's got this payload. I really feel like it's about the weaponry that's going to be brought in next, and that is kind of scary. He does have problems getting through, and that's definitely a blessing in disguise, because I feel like the blessing here is that you've got winter, and winter comes into spring, and spring brings rain and mud. And I'm seeing a lot of rain and mud in Ukraine, and so he might be slowed down until summer. So at least it slows him down a little bit. And then you have the moon, and the moon in this case is about selling the illusion. The moon is about secrets and military secrets being used in the world. I am very, very concerned about what's going on here, although I just get a good feeling about the judgment. I really do. Even though it shows up in Putin's reading, I think that ultimately NATO steps in. And it really, some of this, like that ultimate destruction and that whole scorched earth mentality, makes me think that maybe he's actually escalating to the point where NATO will be brought in. One thing I want to look at is, I just want to throw a few cards and ask the tarot real quick about Putin's stockade of weaponry. And specifically let's just look at what he's fighting with, what he's got left in his armory. What weapons does he have at his disposal still? Well, he's lost a lot of the big, heavy stuff. Oh, okay. So we've got the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands is about carrying a lot of responsibility. It's about carrying big things, but it's reversed, and that's where I get the idea that he's lost a lot of his his heavier artillery in this. So that's really depleted what he has. I don't think he has as much as he's telling the world he has. I think they may have exhausted almost all their tanks in Ukraine, not part of them. And then you have the Ten of Cups, and it's Ten of Cups reversed. That's a worrisome thing with the chemical weaponry. And the only thing there that's good there is it does. Oh, not everything works. Let's see. One more thing. Okay, so still has nukes. Okay, so keep in mind this is for entertainment purposes only, folks. Still worried, still scared, still wondering what that pit is. So, what I want to look at now is from Ukraine's point of view. So, let's do a reading on. Let's just look at Zelensky and see what's happening with Zelensky and see the whole thing from his perspective. Maybe that'll shine some light in this. So we start out the Two of Swords and the Knight of Cups. I could definitely see him being the Knight of Cups. The knight in shining armor here to help everybody, and you have a knights in shining armor right here in my Two of Swords. Not all of them have that, but mine do. And there's this idea of, he's the guy that wants to come up with a truce, and he's willing to give a little, but not a lot. And he's really careful about this because he's lived there all his life. He knows what where this is going to lead, and he basically knows that Putin is not going to negotiate in good faith. So we look at this. So we have the Ten of Cups reversed and the Lovers reversed. So that's funny that you would have the Lovers reversed, because you have the Ten of Cups reversed as far as, his conscious thoughts and his subconscious thoughts. So he's scared for Ukraine. He worries a lot about all the people that they've lost, all the homes and property that they've lost. And he's really worried about that rebuilding phase, and how many people he can bring back to the country and how long it's going to take them to rebuild. So there's no doubt in his mind that they will rebuild someday. I just looked at that and said, that's interesting. And I when I look at that, it flat out said that's NATO. That's NATO. That's the idea that they're not putting in a no-fly zone. And yes, I know that means an air combat zone. And I know that everybody's going, oh, but that's the start of World War III. Putin isn't going to stop until you get that no-fly zone. He isn't going to stop until he's stopped. And until you stop him, he is just going to keep on going. That's the way the guy's wired. So we look at the near past for him. Zelensky has pleaded with the world again and again. And the world says all kinds of nice things. But then the world stands by as he's faced with a wolf at his door and watches the wolf rain down terror on him. So that's from his perspective. And he definitely has a point there. So let's look at the near future. The Queen of Swords. That's an interesting one. I want to go a little bit further, but when the Queen of Swords comes in, usually it means truth wins. It can be at a cost, because the Queen of Swords is sometimes known to bandy about a severed head. But the truth is going to out. And I'm also getting I'm seeing 3 moons there, and I think that's telling me within 3 months. So even though outside of Ukraine, if you look at any of the TV shows, everybody's Zelensky's such a hero on that, and they're holding him up as a hero, so they're seeing him as the Ten of Swords, the warrior king, the holder of truth. But the problem is, no matter how much he begs and pleads, they don't give him the help he needs. And I can see how frustrated he is by that. See, what he's afraid of, what he's most afraid of, is that Putin already managed to get Crimea back. He's worried that Putin could get that whole eastern swath of Russia curving right around to where Crimea is. It's the Black Sea, right? Whatever sea that is. I'm sorry. But that part right there, just by saying, okay, I'm only going to go this far and then I'm going to stop, same way Hitler did. Zelensky's afraid that the world is going to let him keep that little eastern swath of Ukraine the same way they let him keep Putin keep Crimea. Okay, and you've got the Chariot, but it's Chariot reversed. So we may be looking at too little, too late. And I'm going to put down 3 cards to just as clarifier here. I'm going to leave it shuffled. I'm just going to take these away and put this here and tell me about the Chariot. Tell me about the final outcome for Zelensky. Because I do see the world rushing in, but I see it happening too late. Okay, again, keep in mind this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm only telling you what I see in the cards. But there is, when I see the world coming in, what they say is you've got the high priestess here. And the high priestess is somebody who has secrets, somebody who holds, there's this idea of holding back a little bit. And that's the world holding back. So that clarifies that right there. And these are major arcana cards. So it's kind of like the hand of fate. History playing out again right in front of our eyes. Because then you've got the Knight of Coins. And the Knight of Coins has appeared before. It appeared at the end of, in the confirmation marks, comments in the previous spread for Putin. And here for Zelensky, it shows again. Putin is going to drop some kind of a big weapon there. It's kind of like this big, heavy payload coming their way. And then as final outcome, you've got 7 of Cups reversed. So it's sort of like the world steps in too late and says, oh, well, you were right. And I want to get back to what I see here because I do believe that I see what's going on now. And again, this is just for entertainment purposes, but I have to tell my truth and I have to tell you what I see because I put myself out there like that. I do see this as being a reversal. And when I say the reversal, I do believe that he will push it far enough, that Putin will push this far enough that NATO steps in and puts it in a no-fly zone. And when they do that, that's when he's going to go scorched earth on this part of Ukraine. So I do believe that's what the vision told me. I'm not happy with that outcome, but it is what I see. I wish I could have come up with something more sunny and positive. I know a lot of the psychics are coming up with saying it's going to be over quick, and I do believe that. And I do believe that in the long run, and I'll even ask in the long run, show me Ukraine in the long run. Just because I like to end readings on a positive note, and I really believe that Ukraine will be all right in the long run, but the the world owes them a lot. A lot, a lot. Ukraine is a proud country. Yes, Ukraine will come back. And yes, her people will come back. Not all of them, but at least half of them will return to Ukraine. And the citizenry will stand up for themselves. NATO will offer them membership at the end of this. At the end of this, they will be invited into NATO, but they won't be happy about it. You know, they'll join. They will join, but it's kind of like they're never going to let NATO live it down that they stood by and let Putin ruin part of their country for them. Okay. So that is what I see, folks. Thank you for watching. Remember to tune in every Sunday night at 9 p.m. for Psychic Sundays Live, where I'll answer your questions live right here on the Queen of Ooga Booga YouTube channel. Remember to like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye-bye.